Hey there gang, Kawaii50 here with another Fate Grand Order video, and it is time for us to talk about a highly anticipated servant showing up on NA. Someone I'm sure a bunch of people threw a ton of free St. Quartz at, maybe even all of the hundreds upon hundreds we got for the 7th anniversary. That's right, it is time to talk about the titular protagonist of Suckyheim, Arcueid. And now that everyone who cannot take a simple joke has left the video, let's go ahead and start talking about Arcueid. Allies, craft essences, command codes, we're going over the whole shebang, so the arc you have been saving for and pining for can become a core member of your farming and boss killing lineup. Hopefully this video ends up helping you out. If it does, consider liking, subscribing, commenting, sharing, etc. All of those things really help me out as we try to get to 10k subs by the end of the year. Alright, let's take a gander at what Arc has to offer. Arcueid joins the ranks of servants who have now stolen BB's once coveted and exclusive Moon Cancer class. She comes equipped with a quick 2 arts and 2 buster cards with an AoE Buster Noble Phantasm. So Buster farmers, I think you all already see where this is going to start to go. Her HP and attack are fairly solid, but considering her Moon Cancer status, she is going to be dealing neutral damage to the vast majority of enemies. So without the ability to exploit those weaknesses, she is going to be a little more expensive to invest in. And that is actually quite honestly me understating it. Her NP per hit is solid at a 0.45%, with 4 hits on those arts cards, but that is honestly completely negligible considering the best supports that she is going to want. And her star absorption is also on the lower side, so don't expect to get any sort of buster crit damage out of Arcueid. We're going to be going a completely different route. Arc's first skill is Rainbow Mystic Eyes, rank A. This skill seals all enemies and decreases their defense by 10 to 20% for 3 turns, while also giving her a 20 to 30% attack boost for 3 turns. This is Arc's main source of buffing up her own damage, so we are going to go ahead and max this skill second. Second, mainly because her next skill is going to be the absolute most important due to its potency. That second skill is Breath of the Planet, rank C. This gives Arc a staggering 50 to 100% Noble Phantasm charge and increases her NP strength by 10 to 20% for 3 turns. This skill itself was tailor-made for Buster farming. It has everything built in that she could possibly want, and also completely eliminates the need for any sort of starting Noble Phantasm gauge craft essence. It is truly phenomenal and absolutely the skill that you are going to level up first. When this skill was first revealed, people were losing it on JP, and I can't blame them. And Arcueid's final skill thankfully retains the name Funny Vamp rank EX. This gives all allies 1 instance of invincibility that'll stick around for 3 turns and increases all good allies' buff removal resist. So if you're a fan of evil servants, well, Arc isn't going to be giving them any sort of support. This also increases the NP gauge for all allies except for Arcueid, while the field is her Millennium Castle. And you'll learn about her Millennium Castle when we talk about her Noble Phantasm very, very shortly. This is a 20 to 30% NP boost, so it can be very nice for long drawn-out fights when you want to use things like more defensive Noble Phantasms, or maybe use somebody else's Noble Phantasm to clear most of the HP from an enemy, while Arc goes ahead and finishes them off. When it comes to Arc's Append Skills, the first 2 are going to be the most effective ones. Extra attack boost is great on absolutely any servant that you want to go ahead and use a full Brave Chain, and has only become even more potent with the introduction of Mighty Brave Chains. So this is absolutely worth investing in. Low magical energy is honestly a little less important than extra attack boost for Arcueid, mainly because her second skill is so potent. You don't even necessarily need low magical energy to begin with. It's just going to be a nice buffer if you're struggling for materials on her second skill. But once you finally max out that second skill, low magical energy honestly becomes fairly useless. So it is going to be up to you if you want to sink all of the materials into it. But I would say extra attack boost is a must. Low magical energy is a quality of life boost until her second skill maxes out. Now, speaking of things that charge Noble Phantasms and Noble Phantasms in general, let's take a look at Arcueid's beautiful Noble Phantasm.
感受するのよ。逃れることはできん。 我が手、我が爪こそ星の息吹と知るがいい。
Man, they knew what they were doing, didn't they? Marble Phantasm is just gorgeous. This changes the field to the Millennium Castle for 3 turns. Not only does Arcueid's previously mentioned 3rd skill benefit from this, but she also gets a 30% effectiveness boost to every single one of her cards while on the Millennium Castle. In terms of buster farming, however, this is a 300 to 500% bit of damage to all enemies and extra damage against enemies who are chaotic. The overcharge effect is fairly interesting lore-wise, but fairly niche in its execution. This increases the NP gauge of all pseudo-servant allies except for Arcueid by 20 to 40% depending on overcharge. So this is fairly interesting in that it boosts things for characters like Mash, Muramasa, Ishtar, Jaguar Warrior, Zhuge Liang, Bazette, basically a huge amount of anyone that comes from another Type Moon franchise gets a solid bonus. So, while, like I said, neat lore-wise, mechanically, you're not really going to get a lot of benefit out of this, especially considering you might be using Arcueid just for buster farming. So when it comes to our buster farming craft essences, because of Arc's 2nd skill, we can go all out into damage. The Black Grail is going to be your most potent boost, 2400 attack and an 80% NP strength boost is going to really help Arc out when it comes to the damage. And she is going to need as much of a damage boost as she can get. Because of her Moon Cancer class and the neutral damage she's going to deal, if one particular enemy has a little bit too much HP in a wave, you might not necessarily clear that wave. So many recommend that Arcueid gets NP2 at minimum for that extra bit of boost, and using the Black Grail to augment that is basically a necessity. Heaven's Feel is going to be your backup option if you have it, less of an attack boost, less of an NP damage boost, but this is basically the second best option you're going to have in the entire game. Blue Illusion is pretty good if you're running Arc against a boss. This grants her permanent Ignore Invincibility and an NP strength boost. The split stats kind of hurt it, but the Ignore Invincibility is the main reason we are going to field this craft essence, if at all. Also, a special backup mention to Demon King of the Sixth Heaven. This is a 500 to 2000% attack boost and grants Buster Card effectiveness and NP strength. This is basically your I don't have any of the previously mentioned craft essences option and need to pick something. When it comes to pure optimization, run the Black Grail if at all possible. And you've probably already guessed our allies. We are going to want to abuse the double Koyanskaya Oberon system if at all possible. Having these characters on Arc's team are going to allow her to go ahead and completely obliterate any sort of 3-turn farming matchup she is going to go up against. She still, even with this setup maxed out, might require NP2 in order to fully clear a wave. I cannot stress this enough. Unless you are sinking a lot of other materials into her otherwise, there may be a wave or two where you barely sweep by the skin of your teeth. If you're using Arcueid to go ahead and fight a challenge boss, some sort of big enemy with multiple break bars, I wouldn't necessarily recommend running this setup because your Arc's going to run out of gas very quickly. I would instead opt for a double Merlin setup. Merlin is still an incredible character for challenge quests. I always bring him along in lieu of Koyanskaya, and it has always paid off. The HP recovery and the invincibility on demand is just way too powerful, and being able to stack that with Arcueid's own brand of invincibility to protect everyone is going to grant you a fairly safe lineup when taking down a boss. And finally, command codes, which we're going to go a little more specialized with. Considering Arc's got a lower end star weight, going for critical damage isn't necessarily going to be the best move. A lot of those command codes are going to be better spent on other characters. So let's instead go and exploit Arc's additional damage against chaotic enemies using her buster cards. Proprietress of the Sparrow's Inn grants chaotic damage and evil damage. You're going to get an 15% boost against characters of either of those alignments, so that is going to really help pump up Arcueid's damage a little bit. Evangelist of Unconditional Love is also worth mentioning. This is a 25% damage boost against chaotic enemies. You are going to want to go ahead and use this on Arc's Buster card when it finally ends up coming out. I'm pretty sure we're looking at next year. And then when it comes to Arc's other cards for her quick card, go with a standard star drop. Any sort of extra star you can get with Arc's lowered star weight is going to be fairly helpful. And for Arc's arts cards, go with something like Code Cure, anything to cleanse any debuffs off of her so she can deal maximum damage. Looking at the whole package together, everybody, Arcueid is great. She's got a ton of potential within her. Not only being one of Type Moon's main focused heroines, they really focused in on giving her a super powerful kit with enough investment. But that is going to be the key, enough investment. Some with tinfoil hats out there might even say this was intentional. They knew you'd spend a lot on Arc, so they built her in such a way that you are going to need to invest a lot in her. NP2 is basically going to be your safest bet when it comes to having her clear waves with her Noble Phantasm, but that is going to be a hefty St. Quartz investment. You've also got to make sure you end up getting all of her skills as maxed out as possible, and going off of that, her best teams require some of the most powerful 5-star supporters in the game to get her to work. Is Arc going to be okay on her own? Absolutely. She has a lot of powerful tools in her kit. Do I personally think she's as strong out of the box as a couple of upcoming servants we're going to be seeing with the future summer event? Honestly, no. I think there are a couple of summer servants out there that are going to be a better get than Arcueid. However, if you really like Arc, if you have a Buster farming setup already that is raring to go, then I would say she is definitely worth pulling. But I want to know what you all think. Let me know your thoughts on Arcueid down in the comment section below. Let me know if you think there are any allies, craft instances, or command codes I might have missed, and let me know how much St. Quartz you spent on summoning Arcueid. You can check out my summon video on the channel where I ended up chucking 400 St. Quartz at her, in addition to doing the Destiny summon as well as the GSSR. A lot of really good SSRs in that video, maybe Arcueid is among them. As you head down into the comment section, be sure to check out the Discord, the Patreon, and the Ko-fi. Huge thanks to everyone across all of those platforms for their support, and a big thanks to you here on YouTube for watching the video until the very end. That really does help, and I really do appreciate it. Anyways, gang, that's it for me, Kawaii50. I hope you all have a phenomenal day, and I will see you all in the next one.